Hi, my name is Valerie Bogle, and I am the owner of Flourish Magazine Style Photography. And I am going to help you to create interesting virtual backgrounds in Zoom. You may have seen a previous video that I did on how to video conference like a pro, where we talked about how to frame yourself in the frame, how to light yourself properly, and just some tips on how to use Zoom. And I had mentioned that I am not a big fan of the virtual backgrounds that Zoom has to offer. I should probably qualify that I am not a fan of the virtual backgrounds if you're not using a green screen, just because I feel like they can be distracting with some of the distortion and things that happen. So I thought it would be helpful to show you how to create a virtual background that is done professionally and will actually elevate your image, since that's what we always want to do. So I'm going to share my screen with you. We're in Zoom. You're going to go up to the top under zoom.us and go to preferences. We did cover some of these tabs a little more in the last video. This one is strictly going to be focused on virtual backgrounds. So again, if you need some helpful tips about how to have a nice background that's not a virtual background, you can see the other video. I'm kind of just a simple setup here, have some LED lighting on me, and currently have none selected. So this is how you would typically be set up. I'll show you what I don't like about this. If you don't have a green screen, this is going to be what you see. Okay, so here we are in our Zoom meeting, and this is the virtual reality kind of feeling, the virtual background if you don't have a green screen. See, what the system and the camera is trying to do is to separate what is your background, pull that out so that it can drop in the virtual background that's behind me. But it doesn't do it a very good job. To me, it's kind of distracting because every time you move, there's like, a trail of whatever your real background is behind you. So if you don't have green that you can put behind you to use the green screen option, I would just use whatever's behind you, set up something clean and simple, and just forego that. However, the point of this is to show you how to do it well. So I am going to then go back over and share my screen where we were. And you can see that what I'm going to do is click on I have a green screen, and I'm going to pull my green screen back behind me. So hold on one second. Okay, so I pulled it back behind me. So now you see there is still a little shadowing around my fingers, but I don't have the same like crazy trail of whatever my background is happening. So let me do this. This is none. So you can see there's green behind me. And then if I click on a background, that's what you get. There's also this handy thing here. You can see it automatically detects your background color. So like on the back of my, it's a collapsible green screen that has blue on one side and green on the other. So if you use the blue side, for example, if you're wearing green, you don't want to use the green screen color because then you're just going to disappear. But if you're wearing green, maybe use the the blue side, and then you would use this so that it can detect what color that you want to be knocked out. So I'll show you how it works in the reverse. Like if I'm clicking on this and then I click on the black, for example. Well, anything that has like black tones to it, it's going to mask that out, and that's going to drop in the image that you want for your background. So that's not really the effect we're going for. Although when the background is lit quite a bit, it actually looks kind of cool, but still not what we want. So click that off and let it know that it is the background that you want to be invisible so that we can see our virtual background. All right, so obviously you can change any of the ones that are already available in Zoom, and then I'm going to show you how you can add your own. Not only can you create your own pictures using your phone, this is the background that I've been using, and so I created a custom background that shows kind of my messaging, we were born to flourish, and my Flourish logo that you can also do in Canva. I'm going to just walk through how to create some simple backgrounds that you can use just using things that you have in your own house. And of course, I will be creating a gallery or making a gallery available to you where I have a bunch of images that can be purchased for a range of price points, just depending on what the images are. That way, if you don't want to go through the trouble of that, you can just go buy one, drop it in. I'll show you how to upload it, and you'll be done. And then if you want to know how to take it to the next step where you create your own images, take them into Canva, and then put your messaging on that, then you can learn how to do that. Or if that's something you want us to do, we can do that for you too. So lots of options. So let's start with this. I have a green screen. So what I've done, and that you can do too, is this is where you're going to add an image that I will then upload, and it will add these to your library here. Just takes a minute, and then you'll be able to kind of see what works and what doesn't work. Keep in mind, if you're using your phone to take pictures, unless you're maybe using an iPhone 11, some of you have those. I still have a 10. At any rate, for now, you may not have the feature that you can blur the background or just create a super soft focus or just the softness of the focus. That's okay, because that's something we can do in Canva. So you can see this particular image that is showing now as my background is just a picture of a painting. So clearly you're not going to sell any of these. These are copyrighted things, but for the sake of a background, I think it's fine, because it would be no different than if you're sitting in front of the painting itself, which, like I was doing earlier. So this is just a tighter shot of a painting that could be still, I think, a little distracting when it's at its sharpest level. But your phones are going to likely take things very sharp. But like I said, we're going to be able to blur those. So I just walked around the house, literally, and took pictures of things that might be a background that I'm sitting in front of that isn't completely cluttered or has stuff on the table, or things that aren't the best way to present yourself. And you can drop those in. So see, it's kind of like I'm sitting in my dining area. Again, this is another picture of a picture. Once you put it in here, you may realize, like this one, I don't really think I would use that. It's kind of distracting. Even once we blur it, I think it's going to be too much. So there's the one of just a tighter shot of a picture. This, I literally took a picture of my basil plant. So if you're a gardener, or things that might be relevant to you, you can take pictures of flowers. There's plenty of things you can have pictures of. This is just in our backyard. If you want to look like you're outside, that all works. Just keep it from being overly distracting. This looks like I'm sitting in our office area. So I prefer things to not be so sharp, but that's my personal preference. If you are going to add your logo or any messaging for your brand, you're definitely going to want to blur things back, especially if you have something like this where there's just all this stuff going on. It's not going to pop up or stand out very well. So I will show you how to do that. So let's do this. Look at this a little bigger. See, it's kind of nice. It looks like I'm sitting in my office right in front of my shelving, which I'm not. I'm sitting at the dining room table right in front of a green screen that's literally 12 feet behind me. So just another thing to note on the green screens, if you don't end up going with one of the ones that I recommend, which I will put those notes in the description of the video with links of where to find them. I have seen a couple of others. One is like one that hooks to your chair, which I think is kind of a cool feature, although I'm not sure if it's going to be wide enough, so just check that. The one I'm using is a collapsible 5x7, so it's super nice because I can just close it back up and stow it away somewhere. However, it can be kind of pricey if this isn't something you're going to do all the time. So if it's not something that you're going to do, and you don't need to look like uber professional, and you can actually get away with just getting a big piece of green paper, a green curtain. Just kind of watch for the wrinkles, because the variations of colors might make it not quite as crisp for the system to detect. Or like a big piece of green fabric. Just pin it to your wall and just make sure that it's wide enough that your camera, sees from edge to edge, and you're able to mask out everything that you need. So I just want to show you how this looks a little closer up, since I know I'm looking at the screen here. Okay, so we're going to go to canva.com, and I already have an account, but you can create a new account. There is free options, so that should be all you need at this point. You can see a couple different ways. I use this Create a Design presentation template. You can select it there. You can click on the Create a Design button here, scroll down to find whatever type of format that you're looking for. And I recommend the presentation just because the dimensions are closer to what you need. You can do custom, but this just makes it super simple. So click on presentation, and this gives you a blank page. There are so many different options that you can use for multiple things. In this case, I think this is way overkill because these are more like actual slideshow presentations and that type of thing. So this just gives you the format. So now you have this where you can upload your own image and text. So I am going to go to Uploads. I already have in here the images that we talked about earlier that I just took around the house, and you can upload any of the images that you purchased somewhere, or anything that you want to use for your background. For the sake of this, you would just click on upload an image here. Of course, like I said, I already have them. So I'm just going to drop this one in there, and you can size it to fit in your window. I mean, at first glance, looking at this, I think it's going to be a little busy, but you can try it. Like if you keep it at the actual sharpness that it's already at, I think it will definitely be too busy. But what I was going to show you is how you can take that down so that it's not as much of a distraction, and you can use it as a background a little easier. So let's do this. Let's add a logo. In my case, I am going to use I only need to click it once. I always seem to do it twice out of habit. Size it on there however you like. Keep in mind right now it's not going to be clear because, like I said, this is still really sharp. And let's just say I'd like to add some text. That's nice because they already have all these little lockups of different graphics of text that you can use, but you want to keep it simple because this is for your background during a call, so you don't want people trying to read small type. So something that maybe just has a couple of larger type fonts, not a ton of little stuff. You won't be able to see it anyways, and it's just going to look a little cluttered. So I'm going to use Hugs and Kisses. Probably not the most appropriate as far as copy. Oh, I double clicked again. For a business meeting, but if you're having a call with your family and you want to remind them that you love them, then it's kind of a fun one to do. But you can change this to say anything you want. So I'm going to just allow room in the middle or space between the two elements so that I can put my head when I'm in the video itself. So you see you can kind of drag this around. The pink lines show you when it's centered. You can make sure things are centered together. And then I'm going to select all of this and go up here to the little A. With the advanced or the upgraded version of Canva, you can actually designate what your brand colors are, but you can pick color here from, click on that, gives you a color wheel. You can change all the different colors, pick a color that you like, and you can kind of see whether it's going to work. Clearly that's not going to work. I was just to show you how that does work. But then I'll just click white just to keep it super simple. And then maybe here we can do just a little brighter color. Just kind of match the background just a little bit. There we go. Okay. So now to show you how to blur this out, you've got this selected here, and you've got lots of options up at the top. But the filters are kind of fun. You can see how your image is going to look with different filters on them. Keep in mind, you just kind of want to keep it where it's kind of fun and fresh, whatever fits your brand. If you've got muted colors, pick muted colors. You can change the intensity of the filter here. I'll probably just do it just right around there. Then click on Adjust. This is a really cool feature, as you can really adjust a lot of characteristics of your photo. So I'm going to just take it a little bit darker. Again, all this is really personal preference. I mean, there's certainly things that are good and bad practices, but for the sake of this, it's not overly critical. You just want it to be on brand with your current brand. So this is the key right here, blur. You can see how it gets super, super detailed, or if you drag it this way, that's where you start to give the soft focus. That's what I'm going for, so that it's not a distraction. My message, my logo, they start to pop a little more because they're not competing as much for what's in the background. You can see if I took it all the way over, it really just becomes, kind of blurry, and it's still cool. It's just I might personally want to see just a little bit more of what it is. I tend to kind of land between like 6 and 12 in this area, but it is completely up to you. This feature just totally shifts the colors, the way it processes the colors. Just play with them, see what you like. And then the vignette adds a little darkness at the corners. So I just might leave a little bit on that there. And then that's it. That's all I need for that. You can see if you wanted to change sizes or move it around, click on crop. You can also do that by double clicking it. Just click done. You can flip it horizontally or vertically. I don't really need to do that, but you get the idea. So now I've got this cool background that all I have to do now is download it. So you click on the download button, and again, I'm not completely sure. I think the JPEG small file size image might be what comes with the free version, which will be fine. If you have the option for the higher quality PNG, I would go with that. And I believe you can only upsize it with the upgraded version, but you probably don't need to worry too much about it. I just tend to go with a larger file. So download that. That will go to wherever your downloads are saved. I'm on a laptop. I have my downloads folder as what is designated. So it's going to download there, and then we are just going to take what we downloaded and upload it into Zoom. We're going to go back to Zoom, back to the preferences, go back to virtual background where we were before. Okay, so I probably should point out too, you might notice when you are closer to your green screen, like I mentioned accidentally earlier that mine was 12 feet behind me. It's actually about 12 inches behind me, which is not ideal. Just my setup, that's kind of what I can do in this space that I have. But ideally, you want it as far back as possible, as long as it still can fill the frame. Because what happens is you'll start to get a little bounce back of the color, because I've got all this green that you can't see because of my background, virtual background. But I've got all this green that is then bouncing into my computer, that's then kind of reflecting back in my face. So you can kind of see there's like a hint of green on my face. So that's why if you can put it back farther, that's better. But for the sake of showing you this, you'll get the idea. Just play with it a little bit and you'll see how it adjusts, the lighting adjusts on your face. So I'm going to upload the one that I just downloaded. Probably yet another copy. There we go. Now there's a constant message up there, whatever that might be, buy my product, look at my logo, whatever. That's up to you. This is, just to kind of help you position yourself even more professionally and look like the professional that you are. And let's see. So now let's see how this looks big. We'll get back over to that, scoot that back out of the way. Not bad, really. See, I don't have the trail of stuff because it's not competing for a random background. And I've got a nice little, message on one side and logo on the other. It looks nice, and you're gonna definitely stand out from everyone else and gonna look like you have your act together. So please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get that going, trying to provide you with some helpful information to elevate your image and help build confidence both personally and professionally, because after all, you were born to flourish. Thanks for tuning in and hope to see you soon. Be sure to share with everyone you think that could help. Thanks.